at Pottersgate Primary School in Farnham, and we are planning to turn this barren strip of land into a lovely garden for the children of the school to use, to make it a nice place to be in, but also a place where they can do loads of cross-curricular learning and have an enjoyable time throughout their school career. Okay, so the plan is, at the moment, there's not much here at all. There's a few trees which we think are some kind of cherry or plum trees, may or may not be edible, that have been put in at the front end of here. We'll keep those and see what they are, but we're going to enter the garden. Let's try and imagine through some kind of willow archway here, and you'll come in, and on this side of the garden we're going to have a series of raised beds. Each class will have a section of raised bed that they can use to grow their choice of fruit and vegetables. It's going to help them to learn where their food comes from, understand how plants grow from seed and from plug plants, and take care of their environment as well. So hopefully get a bit of a connection with what's going on to their plates at meal times. And that series of raised beds will come across the wider part of this front area of the strip of land. On this side we're going to start having some plants which will be a bit more self-sustaining, which will attract butterflies and birds and things to the garden, not necessarily edible for people, and we can put bird feeders and that kind of thing in here. The central part is going to be a grassy area that they can still sit in, but it's going to have an amazing centrepiece around here of a giant totem pole, which is going to be made up of blocks that have been carved by the children with the help of an artist into the animals that represent each of their classes. So it'll start at the bottom with the ladybirds and bumblebees, go through the squirrels and hedgehogs, foxes, badgers and so on, all the way to the tigers at the top of the class, top of the school in year 6. So it's going to be an incredible centrepiece, and they can sit around this and enjoy it as a fun space surrounded by their garden that they're growing. Hopefully along this side of the open space there will be some espaliered fruit trees, so apples, pears, whatever we can get hold of really, as many as will suitably fit into this space, growing along here, so that they've got fruit that they can pick, which will grow and develop over time, and possibly on the other side as well, if we've got some that will be shade tolerant, because that's a slightly shadier side of the area over there. Moving up the garden, we're going to have a really huge fruit cage, or a series of large fruit cages that will be walking cages that the children can go into and grow raspberries, red currants, black currants, gooseberries, blueberries, all sorts of fruit which the birds love to eat, which will be protected by netting so that we get to eat it instead. And the children can use that fruit for making jams and puddings and things in their school kitchen, but also potentially grow enough fruit to be able to sell pots of fruit maybe at the end of a Friday afternoon to parents in the school playground, and they can start learning about financial management, do loads of maths work as well as having fun with the fruit that they're growing. So I think that will be very popular. And down this side, eventually over time, some of this is going to take a really long time to happen, we can have a really sensory trail with perhaps some running water features, some musical instruments that the children have made, wind chimes, that kind of thing, and various bits of planting that suit the area to make it a nice sensory special trail winding its way up the side of the garden here, to come to the end piece, which is underneath this beautiful big oak tree which has been here for a very long time. I'm hoping to work with the children to guesstimate how old it is, because it's a pretty big tree, so I think it's probably been around in Farnham for a very long time. And under here, what we'd like to do is do some partial screening of the road behind, because although it's quiet, it would be nice to make it a more private area. had a storytelling seat in here, so that either the teacher or the nominated member of the class can sit in their big storytelling seat, and a whole class can be seated on very simple little log wood seats all around it, underneath this tree, a little bit shady in the summertime, a special space where they can tell stories, read books, carry out circle time activities, all kinds of nice, quiet, relaxed experiences. They could think about the history of the place. What has this tree seen in its time in Potter's Gate? How many changes have happened? All kinds of stuff. There are so many things the children can do and really make use of this space. At the moment, it's just a wasted blank canvas, and the children have put together all these ideas. They've been asked to tell us what they'd like to see happen, and from this is where we've got the vision so far. We don't see all the things happening in this garden overnight. It's going to take a long time for the final garden to be created, and I guess it's something that will always continue to develop and change and grow as children bring new ideas into it, but we're going to get started very soon and hopefully create a really great space for them to use over coming years.